Making your audio quality better. It's super important. In fact, I'd say it's probably one of the more important things than getting your visuals correct, but I'm biased because I'm an audio engineer. Anyway, I made this tweet over here not even a couple hours ago asking you guys if you wanted to see how to make your rooms sound better and to just upgrade your audio quality in general. A lot of you really were receptive to that tweet, so here I am. Here's a whole video for you. Now, a quick caveat for you. If you don't have the materials that I'm going to be talking about today, it will cost you a little bit of money. But what we're about to talk about is not nearly as expensive as going out and covering your entire room in sound panels, which you would have to do to get a similar effect. I've got to show you a few things. And in order to do that, I've got to get the help of my friend and break your immersion just a little bit. Okay, here we go. Hello, it's me, Jay. Again. And here we are in my room. Don't mind the mess. We are kind of getting ready to move, so a lot of things are crazy all over the place, and the room is just a tad bit more empty, which is actually great for this example. So, here's the thing, right? Before we can even talk about making this room sound a little bit better and what kind of things that could improve the quality of our sound, we've got to talk about a couple of small things that I constantly see VTubers and VStreamers or streamers or whatever you want to call yourself doing that are causing you a lot of problems that you don't need to be having. Couple pieces of information for you. First thing, you might be streaming and your audio might sound something kind of like this. And you're like, Jay, I don't know what to do. Why does my audio sound this way? Well, gamers, there's a very simple answer to this question, and it's because your microphone is not close enough to your fucking face. Forgive me, sorry for the swear, but I've got to tell you, it is insane to me that so many people will have their microphones across the desk or under the monitor attached to an arm or something like that, and then they wonder why they don't sound great or they sound like they're in a fucking atmospheric cathedral of a room. It's because you are too far away from the thing that is making the sound, your voice, your face, right? Some of you may have a quick red flag that has just gone off in your head and you're thinking, but Jay, I have to have my VTuber tracking working. It's still very easy to solve that problem because as you saw at the beginning of this video, my tracking working perfectly fine, and I was doing the exact same thing I'm doing right now, sorta. So we're gonna cover a couple of very quick things here. I'm not gonna talk too in depth with this because these are problems that happen all the time. We gotta touch on them really quick. Get the microphone closer to your face. If you're across the desk and you sound like this, you gotta get closer. You've gotta put this thing right in front of your mouth if you can. But the second thing is, in order to properly achieve this, you're probably gonna need a mic arm, a boom arm. You cannot have these little shitty desk stands that I don't even have one around here. Hold on, wait, give me a second. Okay, if your microphone is on something that looks sort of like this, but a lot smaller, you need to just get it out of there. You need a boom arm because you cannot adequately get a microphone in front of your face where it needs to be to get the proper sound inside of a shitty bedroom like this one when streaming or recording or singing or doing whatever, right? On a tiny little shit desk stand. You're gonna need a boom arm. Now, in theory, it's best if you get a heavy duty boom arm. You could, sometimes these are also referred to as industrial boom arms. I may put one like up on the screen over here or something, but these can be pretty expensive. So what I would recommend is you can get any of these like normal ones off of Amazon. I think the one I have here is probably only like 30 bucks-ish, 40 bucks maybe. And the thing with that is they aren't the greatest. I have to have my microphone here suspended on the top like this because it is so heavy that if I put it on top of the boom arm like this, well, it sort of works, but it's not really, it's just not great. It's not incredible. I'm not a big fan. Plus, you got this whole thing in the face that you don't need. So for me, I have to do this because the boom arm is not of... Oh, I just bent my boom arm a way I didn't know it could bend. This one in particular is not very heavy duty. So you can get away without getting a heavy duty one, but just know that like the more you spend on a boom arm, the longer it's gonna last. Here's the next part. You guys are probably thinking, all right, now let's talk about tracking, Jay, because I don't understand what you're talking about. It's very simple. If you can't put the microphone directly in front of your mouth like this, which I understand you can't because you're gonna lose your mouth, right? In fact, I don't do this one. I do my VTuber tracking. You have a couple options. If you've got a dynamic mic like the one I have right now, the Rode PodMic, the SM7B, the Shure MV7, or any kind of podcast style microphone, you can have the added loveliness of actually just putting it directly underneath your chin like this. And you can go down or up depending on where you want to be. But the thing with this is, okay, like you just got to make sure your mouth isn't being blocked. Now, some of you, I don't know, your tracking may be lower down. I have a webcam that's way up here. So for me, this angle isn't a problem. You may need to play around with the angle. the other option you have. If you have a condenser microphone like the tried, true, and trusted AT2020 by Audio-Technica right here, you can alternatively do either this if it works, or you can do a similar thing where you just scoot the mic off to the side like this and point it at your mouth. Now, there are some problems with the way we do this. Obviously, you're gonna lose a little bit of this extreme amount of body that comes from looking directly into the microphone, but at the end of the day, it's not that deep. Get your microphone in a comfortable position where it's not blocking you, where it's not obstructing you, not obstructing your view, not obstructing your mouth for tracking, and then we get to talk about the next most important part and the thing I love about this video, all right? The meat and potatoes, the reason I wanted to make this whole video. We're gonna talk about room echo! Because it's really bad in here. So here's the thing with room echo, okay? I could take you a little trip around my room. In fact, maybe I will. Let's see if the camera will let me do that. Can I just take this with me? Hold on. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna stand up now. So, hello, welcome to my bedroom. This is my room. I have the OBSBot Tiny SE camera, so that's the PTZ cam. It's the only reason I can walk around and it will follow me. Don't look at my that thing is disgustingly horrid. Okay, so here's my bedroom, right? Not a lot to see here, but as you will notice, I do have a couple sound panels on my walls, but it's nothing. It's literally nothing crazy. This is probably what a lot of your guys' rooms look like if you have any sound panels at all, right? There's like a 3x3 grid back here. Over here, if the camera will go this far, I've got a 5x3 grid. And then directly behind my, which you can't see, but directly behind my desk here, right above my head, I've got a 3x4 grid, 3 horizontal, 4 vertical. And that spot is probably the most important spot to have all these panels, to be honest with you, with what I'm about to tell you. But I've got them everywhere, so whatever. But whether you have sound panels or not, it doesn't matter. But I wanted to tell you because I wanted to show you what we're working with here so that you're aware. Let me give you a tiny, super baby nerd lesson on how sound waves work, all right? And to be very, 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 very simplified with you, I'm not an audio expert. I'm not an acoustician. What the fuck are those called? I don't know. I'm not an audio acoustic engineer, like smart sciencey guy, okay? These are just some default properties of sound waves that like happen as a basis of audio, okay? So when you're sitting at a desk and you're talking into your microphone, sound waves are coming out of your mouth and they are going to, and in fact, since there's a wall right here, this is a great example. Sound waves are gonna come out of your mouth and they're gonna bounce off the walls, all right? They bounce off the walls, they go all around the room, and then they come back into whatever device you happen to be using, your microphone, your Xbox headset, mic, your Hyper Quadcast X, whatever the fuck you happen to be using, okay? So those are what we call reflections, or what everyone else can refer to as echo, right? Echo is made up of many reflections of sound waves, right? Same thing with reverb. It's all kind of the same thing for your sake, right? Now that you kind of understand, okay, that's how sound waves bounce around, come back in my microphone. That's why my room sounds like that. I understand, Jay. But Jay, why do I want to even do this in the first place? Well, gamers, honestly, just simply speaking, it sounds more professional, way more professional. And for you, it may not matter. For your situation, what I'm about to show you may not matter. But if you want to up your audio quality just a little bit, and especially if you're recording content and want your voiceover content, for example, to sound way better than it currently does, even with model tracking or streaming or whatever, this is going to be a huge help to you. So, to show you what we're going to talk about here, I've got to go grab a few things. So I'll be right back. OBSBot, do not follow me. I gotta go grab something. Just stay right there, okay? Don't follow me. Bro, get out of here. You're killing me. Okay, blanket. All right, I'll be right back. Hold on, I gotta grab more things. I just hit my head, bro. Ow. No, hey. I just injured myself for the sake of content. You guys better love this goddamn video, I swear to God. Another thing. All right, one more. I'm stuck. No, I'm stuck. Ah. Okay. Whew. Okay, gamers, I've returned. The solution is blankets. Okay, so anybody who's watched my content ever at any point on the twitter.com knows that I love blankets for recording, and there's multiple reasons for this, but the tried and true simplest method is you can just stick a blanket over your head when doing voiceover recording, not streaming or model tracking. So that's where this next thing comes in. Behind me, we've got some photography green screen backdrop type beat things. Now, here's another conversation where this comes to talking a little bit about money. So these you will have to buy if you don't have them. If you want to do this method, you don't have to. You're this far into the video, so I don't know why you'd still be watching and not want to do it. But I don't know how much these go for. I will put them up on the screen here or here somewhere. This is what they cost on Amazon if you just want to get one of these. You're probably going to need at least 2. You're going to need a photography backdrop stand and any thick blanket. It could be a comforter for sleeping with. It could be literally anything. If you got extra blankets laying around, this is for you. There are sound dampening specific blankets on the internet, but like we were talking about, this is the poor man's sound dampening tool here. So I'm not trying to go out and spend tons of money on a sound dampening blanket just because they work. Normal blankets work extremely well. So we were talking before about how sound waves come out of your mouth, they bounce around the room, they come back into the microphone, and that is what the microphone is picking up as echo, right? Well, when you have thick or dense materials like these comforter blankets right here, the way sound passes through them is very different than how it bounces off of hard surfaces. So where a sound wave would typically come out of your mouth, hit the wall, bounce off the wall, and lose a tiny bit of energy, and then bounce off the ceiling and lose a tiny bit of energy, and just keep bouncing around and dissipating energy as it hits walls, and then come back into the microphone. When it passes through a dense, soft, absorbent material like this blanket, it's gonna pass through the blanket, lose quite a bit of energy because the blanket is absorbing the sound wave, and then it's gonna have to go through that blanket and hit the wall and do whatever, right? The idea here is that hopefully your sound wave passes through this blanket not only on the way out, but also on the way in. With that in mind, here's what we're gonna do with these. I'm gonna set this guy up and we're gonna box ourselves in and I'm gonna show you the difference. You could hear what this sounds like at the beginning of the video. I will probably play a couple comparison clips when we get this all set up so that you can hear what it was sounding like. All right, let's do that. Here we go. Setup time. Okay. This shit sucks. Why do we do this? Why do I teach people to do this? Why do I do this? This sucks. Why do I care about audio so much? Fuck my life. Okay. Whoa, there we go. Oh, yep, that's kind of weird. There we go. Oop, don't fall over, bro. What is your problem? Ugh. There I am. Don't fall over, you fucking asshole. Yeah, we're gonna turn back around. There we go. Woo! Whoa! The greatest video I've ever made in my life. I hope that the masses get so much entertainment out of it. I'm losing my mind. Oh, hello. Ozbot. Hey, buddy. Hey, where'd you go? Come back here. Excuse me, sir. Can you follow me, please? Okay, I've got to be so real with you. That shit sucked. Okay, but here's the thing. So now you kind of watch me set all this shit up. Here's what's going on. I'll probably draw a little graphic on the screen or something. Well, right now we are currently in the bedroom, sitting at the desk as we were before. I have now 2 photography backdrop stands behind me in a V shape, both with 2 blankets, pretty thick comforter style sleeping blankets on top of them. Right now, this is gonna actually do way more for us than before. So I'm gonna play a little bit of a clip from me sitting at the desk and talking before with some compression on so you can hear everything that's going on. And here we are in my room. Don't mind the mess. We are kind of getting ready to move, so a lot of things are crazy all over the place. And then now here's me talking in front of the microphone, of course. If you're on mobile, you probably won't hear much of a difference, but this is for the headphone users and the people wanting to actually experience the audio. I would bet that, I mean, while I too watch a lot of things on my mobile phone, I would say that a lot of you are probably listening on earbuds, maybe even headphones if you're on the computer, watching YouTube videos, whatever, right? Or streams. So this is pretty, I mean, it's a pretty big deal. This will solve a ton of your recording issues. And in fact, I have a clip from a couple days ago that I posted on Twitter where I made the comparison for this before I even put these in my room in the first place. I'm doing the movements with the tracking to be like, oh my God, you know what I mean? So hopefully this helps. This is without the blankets up. Me speaking very loud. Wow. You can definitely tell that we're in a kind of a nasty room. So let's put those up and see what happens. Okay, we're back. I've just put the blankets up. There's one on either side of me up on some like photography backdrop stands, essentially. I mean, I can already hear the difference just sitting in the room. Then the only thing that is now extremely apparent is that there is a bare wall right in front of me. But also that is the direction that the microphone is opposite from. So like it's pointing at my mouth, which is away from the wall. So this is an example of me talking at a normal volume. Sometimes I happen to back away. So this is just a little test. I don't always do this, but I noticed in my last recording that I was a little bit further from the microphone on accident because I make more facial expressions and get really excited when I record content. So I try to make things look better with my model, which tends to require me backing up a little bit. And then this is me getting pretty loud and very excited about something that I'm recording about. How's the echo? Me speaking very loud. Wow. And then this is me getting pretty loud and very excited about something that I'm recording about. I'm really excited because this means I think my YouTube content is going to sound a lot cleaner, and I'm just really a stickler for good voiceover recording. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I didn't yap too much for you. And if you enjoyed, I don't know, let me know. I don't usually post this kind of content. I guess I'm probably gonna put it on my main channel for no reason other than I don't post any content there really anymore. So that's where it's gonna go. If this method works out for you, please let me know. I would love to hear your results. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.